Well, everyone, this is Dr. Cortez D. Sims again. Once again, just thought I'll chime in on this Thursday thought. I don't know who's out there. Uh, I don't. I don't know if people are online or they can see that this thing is going live right now. But I just thought I'd just take another Thursday thought and another moment to just kind of elaborate on something that I was just thinking about this morning, and I've been waiting to be released to think about any of these things that I'm going to drop on you today, referencing the word freedom and how freedom will always cost us something. And the bottom line is there's a cost to freedom. And the bottom line is freedom is not free. And you have to ask yourself, well, if freedom is not free to have liberation, to be able to do the things you want to do, to be able to think like you would like to be liberated to think, you have to ask yourself, can you really pay the cost for this type of freedom? Can you, can you really find the litigated gall? Can you find the strength? Can you find the courage? Can you find the wherewithal? Can you find the backbone? Can you find the endurance to pay the cost of freedom? Everybody, I'm sure that they had a good glimpse of what freedom is. They look at how people are just liberated and they just begin to do whatever they want and all those other different things. But can you really pay the cost to be free? Because freedom is definitely not something that is just willfully given to you. It is definitely something that is exposed to you. It does exist. But in a lifetime that you have, and that's the thing, we don't know how long or how much of a life do we have to live. And I'm not here to be in a live video to scare anyone about, okay, well, today and all this other stuff, tomorrow, and, well, you're about to die and you're about to pass out. Hey, Miss Green, hey, brother Roger, this is your last chance, your last day. But the reality is, we say often that tomorrow is not promised, and it is not. I was teaching earlier this week in one of my therapy classes is that the only definite about anyone that we have is a birth date. Everything else has changed all around it. Your name can change. You can have an alias name. That can change. You can change your social security number. You do know that. You can change your driver's license number. You can change your state ID number. You can change your address. You can even foster kids and swap out kids. You can change identity. You can do a lot of changing, but the only thing about you that will not change is your birth date. So when it comes to something like freedom, you have to ask yourself, well, from the time that I was I born into a situation that I was in bondage, or was I in jail, or did I have a lot of restrictions and confinement? And the reality is, everybody's story is different. But I just want to quickly talk about how freedom is going to really cost you. In order to have your freedom to break away, to come out of something, you have to first identify that, hey, am I in bondage? Or am I in jail? Because you do know that there are more people that is not confined in an actual brick and mortar jail. You are more in jail, in bondage outside of the imprisonment of a building more than anything. And that simply says, well, how do you know that you have been in bondage? When you cannot be yourself, when you cannot take a breath without ridicule, when you cannot flow freely and have your own mind. There's a lot of different things that is portrayed, that is trying to infiltrate, I should say, to impose on you to become them, to satisfy those, to be around them, to have this opinion or this portrait of how other people will esteem you based upon how they identify you or how they recognize you. But can I just tell you real quick that people will actually keep you where they met you at. So if they met you in a place where there's been a lot of celebration, and then now you're not in celebratory mode, they will ask you, what is wrong? They will instantly go to the negative connotation, go, well, what is wrong? Versus them asking, what's troubling you? We instantly go right to what is wrong and what is right, but we don't ask them, well, what is troubling you, or what has happened, or what is happening in this moment? Hey, Miss Collins, hey, Miss Elaine, got to talk to you. We have to think about counting up the costs It's going to cost you to walk into a level of freedom. It's going to cost you to say, what is it going to take, or what comes with, what are the consequences that come with me walking away, or walking from, or walking into, because it comes with other attachments. A lot of times it's those nouns that I mentioned last week. It comes with those people. It comes with those places that you've connected to, whether it's the workplace, whether it is a place of employment, a place of connections, a place in the community, or those things, or even those ideas. It's going to have to really, really challenge you. So when it comes to having the cost of freedom, you have to really, really and ask yourself, do I have the capacity, the CAPCITY, do I have the capacity in me? Do I have the strength to really, really walk and be the person that I see myself being every day? We have a lot of dreams. We have a lot of visions. We have a lot of things. We have a lot of aspirations. We have a lot of ideas that we would love to do. But many of us have not walked into it because we have a hard time seeing ourselves being the next person that can do it. So that's a level of bondage, to be honest, because we have been imprisoned to either the fear or the I don't think I can do that, even though that you would love to do it. When people hear, what do you feel about a certain thing, and you have a lot of drive, a lot of love, you have a lot of feeling, you have a lot of passion in it, and they're like, well, you have so much passion about that particular thing, why don't you just go out and do it? And they're like, yeah, but if I do that, then it's going to make me look like this, or this is what they're going to say. They instantly talk about others and those and they, when it's really a lot of internal stuff, because before you can even get on the phone with those or others or they, or even who you connect with or who you live with, it starts internally with you. So there's a cost to this thing. So freedom is not free. For those of you all who are in a level of faith, and you are probably in the area of like being a Christian, and we always say a lot commonly throughout the Christian church that salvation is free, but the anointing costs. And I used to agree with that for a long time until I realized I read something in the book of Luke, 14th chapter. I was reading this morning. The book of Luke, the 14th chapter, between the 25th verse and the 34th verse, that even Jesus himself was saying, hey, if you're going to follow me, because I go against the grain, I break rules, I do stuff because I'm connected to the Father. And what we think is not the way other people think. We're trying to bring them into our world. So this is why we tell people, hey, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Get all the way in. Don't lean on to your own understanding, but in all your ways, your behaviors, acknowledge him, and then he's going to give you instructions that has nothing to do with people, family members, co-workers, and neighbors. So that's going to cost you to have to lose people. It's going to cost you for you to have to say, hey, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with what you're thinking. I understand what you are believing because you've given me some ideas, you gave me some backbone and your passion, but it doesn't mean that I over here agree with that. So that might cause some conflict. You're going to be by yourself. So that's going to cost you. So the freedom in your mind is going to separate you. And a lot of people have a hard time being separated. They have a hard time being alone. They have a hard time saying, no, this is what I stand for. Because God gave you 2 feet for a lot of us. He has given us 2 legs, has given us almost all the faculties of our limbs for a long length of time. Some of us we've been born with all of them, and some stuff withered out. Some things faded away. Some parts of our limbs has not been in full capacity because of just life, because of our DNA, because of maybe we have not been a good steward. But the reality is that it's going to cost you. There is a price tag to everything that you do. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you gas to go to anywhere. It's going to cost you some money, because if there's no cost to it, you wouldn't respect the value. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't find it valuable. I remember reading, I actually remember listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and he was talking about when it comes to using your gift and walking into your purpose. And when you start doing that, you're going to find yourself having moments of value. You're going to see how much of the worth it is and everything that's put into it. So there's a cost. So there's a price tag that people should pay into or invest into so they can respect the value. But it's going to cost you something. So there is a cost that comes with them that will liberate you from the old understandings, the old way that other people have tried to mold you into thinking and believing that this is the way you should be. And a lot of us has bought into that thing. But here's the whole beauty and the irony, the positive irony of it is that you don't have to stay that way. You can just change your mind. And I heard a pastor say this in Chicago. They said, well, if you can change your mind, you can change your whole life. You can say, hey, I simply changed my mind about that. For those of you who are in the faith, repentance is literally a change of mind, and you connect the heart. The heart and the mind has a relationship, and it comes together. Let this mind be in you. Out of the whole heart and the mind connection needs to have a relationship together. They have its own function, but they can have a relationship. They are a team. That's what teams are. The heart has an expert in terms of confession. It has an expert in terms of passion. It has an expert in terms of giving you life. The mind has an expert in terms of functionality. It has its own mindset of telling other parts of the body what to do. Hey, I think I need to go to the restroom. I think I need to eat. So the mind has a way of calculating thoughts that comes with you. So when you understand that, that gives you another level of freedom, that you have to walk into freedom. Freedom is going to cost you. I remember hearing real quickly the statement that our good old journeyman, or I should say journey lady, good Harriet Tubman used to say years ago. She said, hey, I was born into slavery. I was born into bondage. I was born into being a slave to the master, and after master, being told what to do, being dictated to, told me what I was able to eat and what I don't have the freedom to walk into. But then I get these dreams, I get these visions from God, but that's contrary. That goes against what I'm living. And so when she made up her mind to try to find a way, create a railroad, and she symbolizes this whole railroad. Hey, Dr. Fleming, Dr. Jackson, Denise Clark Jackson. When she began to say, let me just see if I can just walk into freedom. I've heard people that get hung. I've seen people get burnt up. I've seen people get choked to death. I've seen people that was killed and hung right in front of all of our families. But if it's on me to find a creative way to get away and get some freedom, I'm going to do it. And now that I've been exposed to this freedom, I will not be selfish, because everything that happens to us is meant for other people. Harriet Tubman had a good message. Oh my goodness, for her to say, okay, now that I've been exposed to what freedom is, and I got a chance to see some of us looking very, very nice and great and granular in the North, I want to be able to have a taste of that type of freedom. And I think that my family would appreciate it, because, we go to our close people first, and we go to our friends first. I think that other people around me would definitely appreciate it. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and free more slaves. So it cost her life. It cost for her to be killed. It cost for her to sacrifice herself, to put yourself out there, to be all in the harm's way. But she had a goal. And look at this. She was able to say, hey, I wanted to free so many slaves, so many other slaves, so many slaves. But I wish I could have freed more slaves, which is my main point that blesses me when I think about her when it comes to freedom. She said, I wish I could have freed more slaves if those slaves knew that they were slaved. In other words, if these slaves knew that how they would never have a free life, they would never be able to be themselves, they would never get a chance to get to why God allowed them to be purposely born, you can never get to it. So here's, as I wrap stuff up, hey niece, Elena, here's what happens. When it comes to the ridicule, the scrutiny, the lies, the misunderstandings, I can tell you all about it. I know how it feels to be in a situation where I think I created my own jail. And we don't really talk about that as leaders. When I created something because I wanted something so bad, and I thought that I was on the right track of right, and I was like, did I just put myself in jail? And I think I not only put myself in jail, I even talked myself into staying in jail. And we don't talk about that. But that needs to be something that's said. A lot of us, we don't like to accept responsibility. But even if we accept responsibility, we don't know that that liberates us. That says, now you have been able to accept responsibility. And here's the keys to take and stick your hand through the bars of the jail and unlock yourself out. Don't wait for somebody else to liberate you, because that is not going to happen. You'll be waiting for years, and then you'll be mad at yourself. Good morning, Dr. Clark, Dr. Jackson. You'll be mad at yourself because you're like, I had keys to my own freedom, I know it's going to cost me, but a lot of us talk ourselves in and out, in and out. Yeah, but if I do this, this is what they're going to do. Yeah, and most of everything we're saying is people bondage. Do you know that people bondage is the worst height of bondage is people? And most people don't care anyway, even if you're not in bondage. So can you imagine if you're on the other side of the jail and what you get up with and how you live? The average person don't care. So we put too much stock, too much investment into what somebody else think, which is what somebody think and what they're going to feel and how they're going to look at us. When the average person is blind, they don't care. They in their own business and they so stuck somewhere else. Why do you even invest to care in other people and just their reactions? And you are made to be a proactor, which means this. I think pro means to think of something that is before, and then I act in my character on what is best for me. So when people ask me, how did you do that? Well, these are all the things that came with paying that price tag to be free. And you have to be able to say, this is what it means to be a leader, to stand alone. And when people say, oh my God, if you can do it, I can do it. That's what pure leadership is. What am I saying today? I'm saying that in your freedom, it's going to cost you. But guess what? The other side of walking into freedom, there's self-discovery, you all. Number one, there is identity when you count up the cost. Hey, guess what? They don't care about nobody no way, but guess who's going to care about me? I love me. And not only do I love me, I like me. I like to hang out with myself. I like to say, this is where I'm going to eat. A lot of us make a lot of our decisions based upon what the crowd does. Hey, what are we going to eat today? Versus saying, what do I like to eat today? I don't want to eat chicken all of the time. I love shrimp. I love seafood. If it's a salad moment, hey, I'm on salad. Oh my God. But people bondage, people keep you in jail, concerned about what they're saying. And that's the thing is, you have to rise up to the occasion and say, I don't care who cares about what I don't care or what I do care about. That's a loaded statement, but you have to get to that point of deliverance. You have to get delivered from people. I remember hearing this apostle, I think this apostle, Louis Greenup, he said, I had to get to the point and say, God, deliver me from stupid people. And the only way that you can come to that place is you realize, hey, I got infected by stupid things, stupid ideas, stupid paradigms, stupid ways of thinking. And because of that, that is not even me. I'm so uncomfortable with that. I got to get free. What is it going to take? That's the cost part. I like when Jesus said, last part in the 33rd verse, he said, those of you who do not give up everything, this is the NIV version, you cannot be my disciples. So if you're not willing to give up everything that goes against the grain of everybody around you and what they think and go, hey, I see things different. I look at things different. I feel things different. I'm just different. And different doesn't mean agree. Different means identity. The other thing is, so your relationship with yourself grows, with your family grows, but then your purpose is refueled. Oh my goodness. Your purpose begins to be refueled. Now, all of a sudden, you get this burst of energy because remember, as long as you are in bondage, as long as you are in jail, as long as you are stuck and you can't be liberated, you living on the fumes of everybody else's rumors. You're living on the fumes of everybody else's discussion. You're living on the fumes of everybody else's old conversation that has nothing to do with you. I like how Bishop Jake said. He said, what other people say about you is just none of your business. So you're really being intrusive, being nosy about what's been said about you that is not even true, that has no validity. But even if it is factual, it don't mean that it's truth. And there's a difference. There's a difference between the facts. Facts is something that has some history to it. The facts has been proven, but what the truth is and what exists and what the future will hold. So you have to separate those two different things. People like to say, well, I'm going by the facts. I'm going by the reviews. But even the reviews can throw you off because everybody's experience in something that's not the same. So some people would say that even in relationships. Well, I don't want to be in something committed. Well, that's your story. My story is different. I have a different narrative. So never let people put you into a place of bondage that doesn't fit your story. God has given you a dream. God has given you something that's so sound for you that even if you tell people, people don't listen no way because they can't even regurgitate what you've said in the list, and they're halfway hearing you because they don't even like to hear themselves. So the average person, you guys, don't do what they say they're going to do no way. They don't even listen to good advice for themselves. Why do we even care if you have that one person times 50 other people, which is a crowd? And so I just want to drop some tips to you to let you know how much you have to be delivered, separated from all of those different things. It's going to cost you the freedom, but guess what? It's so worth it. You will get something out of a lifetime that many people will not get. And it doesn't take you to become 80, 90, 100 years old to get it. I just want to let you guys know that there is a cost in your freedom. There's a cost and there's a price tag, but pay the price for it. You will see the value to wear that shirt. You will see the value to wear that scarf. You say, man, that thing is expensive. And you're saying, that thing costs too much. No, it's not that it costs too much. It's just that way you thinking and how you thinking in your mind, because your mind might be thinking small only for right now. You just can't afford it with that mindset. The mindset that you have right now keeps you to not be able to afford. Okay? But when you change your mindset, add the value, add the riches, advance and expand how you think of the thing, your perspective and your wisdom, you will be able to pay anything. You can say, okay, yes, I can move forward. Yes, I can pay the cost for their freedom. In fact, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So in somebody else with strength, I'm going to have strength. I can do all these different things. That's part of the nouns. So when you either have that self-conflict within yourself, move forward, you guys. Move forward. Hey, my sister Kim, I love you. Hey, Sister Johnson. So I'm saying off to say, hey, you guys, you can do it. And here's the reality for many of you all who are listening, and please share it. You have to do it. Your legacy is on the line. You're stopping other people's hope to believe, who do I know who have done this before? There are a lot of people who have heard, read articles. They're doing all kind of things. But you are the mark, M-A-R-K-E-D, marked past tense. You're the mark person for this particular pursuit right now. You have to be the one to write the books. They don't know what it means to say, I don't know no personal authors. I just know these people who, whenever I go to Barnes and Noble, but be the person to step out and be like, you know what? I'm going to go get this office. We're going to set this thing up because I got to be the first. And you're not even trying to prove a point to other people. You prove a point to those old jail sentences that you've had. Those old places of bondages that used to have you in cuffed and used to have you incarcerated to say that you can't do nothing. And here's the last tip. A lot of people have said all kinds of things, and that's because they have belief issues. You can't concern yourself about their belief issues. All you want to do is have what I like to call a healthy selfishness and say, I'm so busy working on my own belief system, I got to go ahead and do what I need to do for me. And so that God is glorified. Hey, I love you guys. Share this if this means anything. Let people know that, hey, there is a cost to freedom. There's a price tag for it. Don't get it confused. But just know that your purpose will be refueled. Your relationship with yourself and with God and with people is going to be so great. Your identity, is restored. And then you have some self-discovery that will happen every day because you are thinking outside of confinement, or we like to say outside of the box. Love you all. Take care. Take charge on this weekend. Peace.